In this video I'm going to be reviewing week 7 of my midlife fitness journey, and my main goals for this week were to regain my motivation really. So last week I was a little bit bummed out, coming out of an illness, wasn't feeling too great, and I also wanted to see about cleaning up my diet, which seems to be something I'm saying pretty much every week. So I think on the diet side of things I'm going to be giving up with regards to cleaning up. I think it's as clean as it's going to get. I think it's actually going to end up getting a little bit more dirty, if I'm honest. So, reason for that is I went out for a 13.5 mile run, which is great. So it's like the first half marathon distance I've done this year in the real world. I did a trail called the Cloud Trail. It's basically a walking path that goes from a place called Worthington in Leicestershire up into Derby in Derbyshire. Now the whole path is around about 13 and a bit miles, so obviously I didn't do the whole thing. I basically parked in Worthington, ran halfway and ran back, which gave me around about 13.5 miles. I did actually end up doing a little bit longer than that because I did the unfortunate trick of stopping my watch when I went for a slash, forgetting about it, jogging on, and then going, oh, I need to restart my watch. So I think I did at least 14 miles, but 13.5 was clocked, so 13.5 is what I'm gonna say I did. Really enjoyable. It was so nice to be out doing a long distance run or a semi-long distance run in the real world. I managed to do it in around about 2 hours 19 at a 10-minute mile pace, because the whole goal for that run was to see how long I can go without having any kind of cardio issues. So cardio wise, 2 hours 20, not a problem. Cardio, not an issue whatsoever. Muscles and joints, however, not so good. My knees, my hips, my ankles, they were all kind of screaming for attention by the time I got back. Yeah, that wasn't pleasant at all, which kind of led me into the other part of the week, which was a huge part of fitness, which is stretching. So I'm, like most people, I don't like stretching. Who does, really? But it becomes critically important when you're doing that kind of thing. And I kind of had to, on the hoof, had to kind of remember what I used to do to stretch. So kind of a couple of different approaches. One, I've just immediately done the run, so I get back to the car, as I did in this instance. I did the quad stretch, standing quad stretch, which you generally see lots of people around doing. I don't really know what good it does, to be honest. I don't really feel it, probably because I'm not running particularly well. I'm quite a bad runner at the end of the day. And I then go into, I suppose, if anything does anything, it kind of loosens me up for the next one, which is like a deep-seated squat. And I hate deep-seated squats, particularly after you've been running, your hips are killing you, and just drop in a deep-seated squat, hold that for about 20 seconds, and that really lets you know what's what. And then do some circles with my ankles, just the basic kind of twirling your feet around. That seems to loosen it up again. Just do a few, like 10, 20 circles each direction on each foot. And then do some leg swings, so swinging my leg back and forth, and that loosens you up enough to be able to get in the car, drive for another half hour, an hour, whatever it was to get there, and get showered, get cleaned up, and then do my proper stretching. So the stretches I tend to do after getting back from run are fairly straightforward. They've learnt them over the years, and I've been fairly consistent with them, and they do tend to fix most of my issues when it comes to a run. So what I do: low lunge, a seated hamstring stretch, just one leg at a time, then a leg hug, a lying quad stretch, the resting pigeon pose, or standard pigeon pose if I can't quite manage a resting pigeon pose, a wide leg seated stretch, and a butterfly pose. Now I hold all of these for around about 20 to 30 seconds each, and depending on how well I feel I've done, I might go around and do another set. I then do another set before I go to bed, and then when I get up the next day, and that generally keeps me in good enough shape to not really keep on doing it every single day. So if I'm doing, basically, if I have aches from a run, which I did after this 13.5 miler, then this is the routine that I'm going to keep on following. And it is good. It makes all the difference in the world. You go from ooh, ah with every step to actually being able to move quite fluidly. Two good things that come out of this week. One, my blood work came back, and my blood work was really good. I did do a separate video on that, which you may have seen. The only real things that came out there that were an issue were my white blood cell count was a little bit low, which is more than likely down to the infection or the bug I had the week before. And the only other thing on there was that my kidney function was fine. It was actually perfectly acceptable. But to me, it seemed a little bit low. So I'd like to see that getting a little bit better over time. Next week, the two big things that I'm wanting to look at, obviously, one, I want to go out and do another long run. So I'm going to have to start scouring maps to find decent routes that are within driving distance, so I can get a good, at least a 12-mile run every week. My main goal, from a running perspective, is the route that I did, the Cloud Trail, that full 13 mile route. Effectively want to run from Worthington into Derby and back, and with doing that, that would give me my first real world marathon or marathon distance, and I want to be able to do that again with keep the cardio and hopefully not destroy my muscles and joints in the process. But yeah, so my goal is to do that next month. So doing 10 to 12 every week should help to let me get to there. Yeah, so fasting is the other thing that I want to start looking at. Fasting wise, I've not done a long fast for a long period of time, and I don't want to really get into long fasts because they do cause you lots of problems, digestive issues when you're trying to refeed yourself. The one that I found that is okay for me is a 36-hour fast. So my plan is to start doing a 36-hour fast next week, and we'll see how that goes. And fingers crossed, this time next week I will still be equally motivated and going strong. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.